After passing through and rounding the corner, though, I see a solitary figure walking downhill towards the small town below. The color of her hair and tapping of her cane are unmistakable. I quickly walk up to her, which seems to catch her attention without a word needing to be said. Hi, Lily. She takes a moment to place the voice, slightly adjusting her head to face a bit more towards the source of my voice as she does. Hisao? Yep, that's me. She seems to have a good memory for voices. The fact that she actually remembered is a pleasant surprise. Good evening. What brings you here? Once again, she gives a small polite bow, and once again I reply in kind before realizing that I needn't do so. I'm just going into town. How about you? My, what a coincidence. Doing the same thing, huh? I usually go shopping on Fridays. She pauses for a moment, suddenly looking a little lost. That said, Hanako usually comes into town with me. Ah, not lost, but worried. The two Ds seem to keep pretty close tabs on one another. It's kind of surprising that Hanako would just forget Lily like that. I noticed her reading in the library. She probably just got caught up in a book. She lets out a small sigh of relief. Thank you. She has a habit of doing that. Avid reader? Right. She doesn't like being around crowds of people, so reading away from everyone lets her relax a bit. Although she probably didn't intend it, I can't help but grimace as I recall my first meeting with her. Hardly wanting to bring it up, I remain silent as we quietly walk down the quiet road. Tack, 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 tack. With the road bereft of cars and the students of Yamaku increasingly far behind us, the quiet rustling of the leaves and the measured tapping of Lily's cane against the sidewalk are all that can be heard. It's kind of nice, especially compared to the hustle and bustle of where I used to live. Before I know it, I've relaxed so much that it allowed yawn escapes before I can control it. Tired? Yeah, I've been running ragged these past few days. It's an understatement to be sure. Transferring to a different school would be bad enough, but nothing like this. Well, hopefully everything should settle down for you. The festival's got everyone in a spin right now, and you've been plopped right in the middle of things. For a moment I hesitate, but given her apparent tolerance for frankness, I decide to give my full thoughts. I guess. Yamaku's kind of different, though. I mean, the formality surrounding everything, the isolation around it, not to mention the most obvious difference. It's kind of a whole different mindset. I'm supposed to get used to it in time, though. She gives a matter-of-fact nod, apparently pleased with my answer. It feels almost as though she's included me in the flock of students she's shepherding, along with the class of 3-2 and Hanako. Well, not that I mind. It's nice to get the thoughts off my chest in any case. Looking on the bright side, one could see it as a chance for a new beginning. You should cherish the ability to make new friends. It's optimistic. Nonetheless, it's good to have a positive attitude about such things, I suppose. Guess that's a good take on it. Walking on down the road, she seems to become somewhat unsettled. Before I can ask what's on her mind, she seems to collect herself and speaks up about something else. So where in town were you heading? It's actually a pretty good question. I'd come out to buy food, but the layout of the place is still totally foreign to me. I intended to just wander around and see what I could find, but with sunset already approaching and nightfall not too far away, doesn't seem very wise. Gonna have to ask her for directions. Again. I was just gonna get some food, but now that you mention it, I don't really know the way. Well now, this is quite lucky. I was just about to go to the convenience store myself. Looks like I'll be in your care again, then. Thanks. So together we walk to the store. My pace is carefully slowed to remain beside her. Compared to my usual walking pace, hers is quite a bit slower. Not that it's without reason. After what couldn't be more than several minutes, I catch sight of our objective. This town really is pretty small. Without further ado, we make our way inside with a greeting from the counter. Mind if I tag along with you? Usually Hanako would help me, but seeing that she's not here... Takes a moment before I realize what she means. Considering she wouldn't be able to read any of the labels, shopping without any help would probably be a big pain for her. That said, I can't shake the feeling that she had this idea since you said I was coming here. I probably fucked up every single line there. Sure, it'd be my pleasure. I grabbed 2 well-used red baskets from the small stack besides the entrance, handing one to Lily. She lays it on the ground, putting her school bag in, retracting her cane and sliding it through the basket's handles before picking it back up in her right hand. Wait, she doesn't use her cane. Before I can complete the thought, she comes beside me and pinches the cuff of my uniform in her slender fingers. Is this alright? Sure. I've no reason not to accept. I can think of worse things than shopping with a pretty girl holding on to me, even if it is out of necessity. We navigate our way through the store. with not one of the occasional passing customers seeming to bat an eyelid. Considering how close Yamaku is, I guess seeing students from there must be entirely normal for the local residents. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check with Lily and find out what she needs. I grab it along with what I'm looking for and put our items in our respective baskets. I guess this is the same routine she and Hanako follow every Friday. Right, all that's left is the bread, and that should be my shopping done. Need anything else, Lily? No, this should be everything. Off we go, then. With a quick side trip to the bakery section, we make our way to the registers. Alright, a convenience store with a bakery? I don't know, all we got around my place are 7-Elevens, they don't have a bakery. Maybe they do, and I just never step into 7-Elevens. The line, thankfully, is almost non-existent. It's not long before we both paid for our food and are out the door. As Lily retrieves her cane and extends it to full length, I waste a minute looking upward at the night sky while holding both of our bags. For a moment I try to make clouds with my breath, but the summer's heat doesn't seem to cooperate. Eventually she rights herself, taking a quick stretch before taking her bag and leaving me to my two. You tired as well? The festival preparations have been complete chaos. Shizune breathing down my neck doesn't exactly help things either. She's only trying to get everything organized. Better now than later, right? I suppose. I'm going to enjoy relaxing in town tomorrow, that's for sure. I guess the festival preparations must be taking their toll on both of them. We walk out into the quiet street, talking between ourselves as we carry our bags of food and supplies from the store. Wait, what's that? I notice a very distinctive figure making its way towards us, silhouetted by the street lamps. For a second I think it's another male student from my class, but as he, or so do I say, she, gets closer, I recognize her quickly. Rin? What are you doing out here so late? Rin? Lily perks her head, looking like she's trying to focus on listening more keenly. It suddenly comes to me that I should probably interpret the scene for her. It's Rin Tezuka, I think that was her last name, from our school. She stiffens a little at the name and gives me a complicated-looking expression. Something like a forced fusion of a composed smile and a painful cringe. Ah, I understand. I guess Lily knows Rin, too. Rin turns to look at us, looking terribly out of it. I'm not entirely sure if she recognizes either of us, or at least she doesn't seem to acknowledge it if she does. She looks like a zombie. Or a statue. Or a statue of a zombie. But slowly, some symptoms of understanding seem to lighten her dark eyes. This is something she must react to. Rin blinks once, very thoroughly. Hello. There's an awkward pause, everyone waiting for someone else to say something. What are you doing here this late? I was wondering about that myself too, just now. Some people asked that just before. I assumed they were wondering the same. I didn't know. They didn't know either. I asked. That's why I'm wondering. So that was pretty much it. It's a murder mystery without a murder. They were going that way. She turns facing to her right in order to demonstrate the direction the other people went to, as if that was important, then rotates back like a mechanical puppet in one of those overly complicated clockworks. For a person who gives an impression of being the quiet type, Rin really does use a lot of words to say things that don't need a lot to be said. Unsure if she's finished, I say nothing. Neither does Lily, who seems equally robbed of words for the time being. I think that both of us are just scared that any response might provoke her to continue. Her stupefied lack of a reaction doesn't faze Rin at all. She keeps looking at us expectantly, a calm hint of expression on her blank face. She seems to be that kind of person, always so relaxed. As if bull elephant grade sedatives were flowing in her veins in place of blood. Do you have amnesia? I don't recall you having anything of the sort, though. Nah, I don't think it's that. The other passerbys are probably just worried, though. You do look really lost, the way you're standing in the middle of the street. Oh, I see. Maybe I should have taken some other kind of pose in that case. I ponder for a while whether or not I should chase this angle further or give up for the sake of my own sanity. I decide on the latter. It seems most of the time it's better to not read too deeply into what Rin is babbling on about. Talking with Rin is like playing chess with a supercomputer who does seemingly completely random moves as if to mock everything you know about chess. It's like that except with human interaction. And even if I win, it feels like losing. Damn, it's just like Kenji said, even when I win, I lose. Is this the power of the girls of Yamaku? I push the thought aside as if too dangerous to continue to consider further. It's probably just Kenji's anti-female propaganda getting to me during a moment of weakness. Yeah, taking another pose might have worked. So anyway, you have no idea what you're doing here? She frowns, looking extremely displeased at my question. Its consequences are the answer she's about to give. I do have some idea. Can't really tell what kind of an idea. That sounds like progress, at least. It really sounds as though she spotted an opening for some kind of discernibly normal conversation. Can't say I share that optimism. Yeah, there is some. Definitely. The rest will come later. I'm sure of it. I always have reasons. The ensuing silence kills Lily's hopes all too visibly. That didn't last long. Ren's, as far as I can tell, unbased assurances aside, what should be done? We could just leave her to her own devices, whatever those are. But it's late, and I don't think we'll be getting any thanks if Ren is found standing here in the middle of the night. Which she probably will, unless she manages to remember what she was doing here in the first place. As for me trying to guess what might have been going on in her mind when she decided to embark on this venture, the chances seem to be on par with winning the lottery. Several times in a row. Lily is oddly quiet too. I'd appreciate some support from the sidelines here, especially if she's more familiar with Ren than I am. But it can't be helped. It seems her familiarity with Ren is exactly why she's staying subdued. So I assume you're going somewhere, not coming back to the school. Any idea where? Her eyes widen with shock, and she jolts back in a somewhat artificial way, making it seem like an act rehearsed for situations like this. Are you a mind reader? Is that your disability? How unique. No, what? How would you think that? I love that little face that Rin does. She doesn't do it too often, but I just love it so much. I'd hug her if she had arms. That was kind of a rough thing to say. You knew what I was doing. I guess you don't need to... She doesn't really need arms for me to hug her. Oh well. She's a character. A fictional one. I can't hug her anyway. It was just an educated guess. We walked the same street in the other direction just before to get to the store. If you were going to school, we would have met you on the way. Oh. She looks a little disappointed. Like Kenji, Rin appears quick to jump to completely irrational conclusions. Maybe something in the water here. Make a mental note to stock up on soft drinks. You know, it's the second time this week that someone asked if I was a mind reader. So I really give off that impression? Rin shrugs her shoulders, which is all the answer I get. You know, maybe you should come with us back to the school. Lily interjects just as I'm about to further debunk my alleged mind-reading capabilities. She sounds rather concerned, the paper-thin smile on her face badly disguising that fact. Maybe she came to the same conclusion as I did. For everyone's sake, I decided to let the mind-reading topic drop, as it's completely inane anyway. My jaw's starting to hurt. I've recorded 3 episodes in a row. Yeah, Lily's right. If you can't remember, there's no point in staying here. Ren considers this as a simple deduction for a moment, then nods. Okay. We start towards the school again, having wasted way more time than necessary with this episode. That's how I feel about my YouTube career! Rin walks along the edge of the sidewalk in her rhythmic way, looking like a mix of sleepwalker and rope dancer, while Lily keeps one hand on my shoulder, tapping at the ground with her cane. Tap, step, step, tap, tap, step, step, step. Apart from that, and a few fragmented beginnings of conversation, it's quiet. A quiet quite apart from the relaxing one into town at that. So how's that mural going? We're going to get bad luck. Never talk about working some progress. I'm sure it will be wonderful. Bad luck. Tap, step, tap, step. She doesn't seem to care to talk about it. Lily's politeness feels out of place for the first time. Step, step, step. The hill Yamaku rests on is surprisingly steep going uphill. We slowed the pace, but I still feel my pulse rising and my breath getting heavier. Almost there. I can see the gates already. More than that, though, I notice Lily's hand slightly tightens on my shoulder. Interpreting it as a gesture that she wants to ask something, I speak up. Anything wrong, Lily? I resist the urge to stay aside from her traveling companion, but only just. For a moment, she seems to debate whether she should even bring it up, but goes with it anyway. Is everything alright? Alright? How do you mean? The fact that I can't interpret her incredibly vague question puts her off for a second. It's just, you seem so unusually tired, I guess. Now that she brings it up, I notice that my breathing is strangely heavy. The uphill walk really has done a job on me. Lily noticed it all too quickly. Well, we really shouldn't drag people into it. I don't really want to talk about it. I'm fine. There's nothing to worry about. The hill's just surprisingly steep, don't you think? I wonder what they have the school so high up here for anyway. Don't we have students in wheelchairs and everything? Indeed. Lily's forehead wrinkles in concern. I don't really want her to think that I have kind of an expression over me. We barely know each other. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Not that you can find a place like this wherever, I guess, but it makes me wonder what they were thinking. My voice is overly calm. No, the hell it's not. It sounds weird to my own ear, and I speak way too fast. I briefly wonder how much Lily can censor someone else's voice alone. Let's continue. We're almost there anyway. For the rest of the way back to school, we all remain silent. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes till a lunch break, and then our own time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Well, if there's school on Saturday, then why do people party on Friday there? Odd. It's not like I throw massive parties on Thursday and then have to go to school on Friday and it's whatever. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one else in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial, and not a peep is heard from among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the 2 empty seats behind me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as ratty as she is, or she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha, I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. So tell me, how are things? Things? I'm expecting Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so, how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And, how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes on Muto's face. Good, that's, good. The school nurse was a little concerned you might have been pushing yourself a little bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education you get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and know how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this info. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you gotta keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. Keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's really all I had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief for that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they're working on questions in the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it appears that Muto doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. Guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or get a chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until the bells finally cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers to those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako's the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither of us tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either. So an oppressive silence falls on the classroom. Time passes in silence. Probably it's just 15 minutes or longer, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook, and Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil head splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. Sounds of my irritated sights, subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that is the one I saw her reading at the library. She should be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there's nothing else to do in the classroom. Not really feeling energetic, I just go straight to my room and read for the rest of the day.